The restrictions, for some there are, which are laid upon petitioning in England, are of a nature extremely different, and while they promote the spirit of peace, they are no check upon that of liberty. Care only must be taken, lest, under the pretence of petitioning, the subject be guilty of any riot or tumult, as happened in the opening of the memorable Parliament in 1640, and, to prevent this, it is provided by the Statute 13 Charles II, Statute 1, Chapter 5, that no petition to the King, or either House of Parliament, for any alterations in Church or State shall be signed by above 20 persons, unless the matter thereof be approved by 3 Justices of the Peace, or the major part of the Grand Jury in the country, and in London by the Lord Mayor, Aldermen, and Common Council. Nor shall any petition be presented by more than 2 persons at a time. But under these regulations it is declared by the Statute 1 William and Mary, Statute 2, Chapter 2, that the subject hath the right to petition, and that all commitments and persecutions for such petitioning are illegal. 5. The fifth and last auxiliary right of the subject that I shall at present mention is that of having arms for their defence, suitable to their condition and degree, and such as are allowed by law, which is also declared by the same Statute 1 William and Mary, Statute 2, Chapter 2, and is indeed a public allowance, under due restrictions, of the natural right of resistance and self-preservation, when the sanctions of society and laws are found insufficient to restrain the violence of oppression. In these several articles consist the rights, or as they are frequently termed, the liberties of Englishmen, liberties more generally talked of than thoroughly understood, and yet highly necessary to be perfectly known and considered by every man of rank or property, lest his ignorance of the points whereon it is founded should hurry him into faction or licentiousness on the one hand, or a pusillanimous indifference and criminal submission on the other. And we have seen that these rights consist primarily in the free enjoyment of personal security, of personal liberty, and of private property. So long as these remain inviolate, the subject is perfectly free, for every species of compulsive tyranny and oppression must act in opposition to one or other of these rights, having no other object upon which it can possibly be employed. To preserve these from violation, it is necessary that the constitution of parliaments be supported in its full vigour, and limits certainly known be set to the royal prerogative. And, lastly, to vindicate these rights, when actually violated or attacked, the subjects of England are entitled, in the first place, to the regular administration and free course of justice in the courts of law, next to the right of petitioning the King and Parliament for a redress of grievances, and lastly to the right of having and using arms for self-preservation and defence. And all these rights and liberties it is our birthright to enjoy entire, unless where the laws of our country have laid them under necessary restraints. Restraints in themselves so gentle and moderate as will appear upon farther inquiry that no man of sense or probity would wish to see them slackened, for all of us have it in our choice to do every thing that a good man would desire to do, and are restrained from nothing but what would be pernicious either to ourselves or our fellow citizens. So that this review of our situation may fully justify the observation of a learned French author, who indeed generally both thought and wrote in the spirit of genuine freedom, and who hath not scrupled to profess, even in the very bosom of his native country, that the English is the only nation in the world where political or civil liberty is the direct end of its constitution. Recommending therefore to the student in our laws a farther and more accurate search into this extensive and important title, I shall close my remarks upon it with the expiring wish of the famous Father Paul to his country: Esto perpetua.